Tokyo Auto Salon 2023 has just wrapped up, and of course, as a car guy living in Japan, I had to go. Tokyo Auto Salon is held at Makuhara Messe in Chiba, which is a 35 to 45 minute train ride from Tokyo Station on the Keio line. Keep in mind that the Keio line is in a separate area of Tokyo Station from the other JR lines. There are lots of signs and even a pathway on the ground leading you to the Keio lines, so it should be easy to find.
The next station is Maihama JE7.
Take the Keio line to Kaihen Makuhari Station and then go out of the south exit. The way to Makuhara Messe is slightly to the right and you'll see signs and people pointing you that way. If you want to get a bite to eat before or after the event, the outlet mall building to the left has plenty of restaurants, and the plaza itself may even have some food vendors as well.
So it's kind of nice that we're seeing as many people leaving as there are while we're going in, because hopefully it means it's a little bit emptier.
Tokyo Auto Salon is spread across multiple halls in a few different buildings, plus outdoor areas. There are maps that are handed out for free that show where all the booths are, plus large display boards showing where the vendor booths are in both Japanese and English. Plenty of booths will be handing out large bags, so you may not even need to take a backpack with you to hold any swag that you pick up. There are also rental lockers inside the venue, but don't be surprised if they're all taken. But that's enough of that. Let's go look at some cars. The variety of vehicles on display at Tokyo Auto Salon is tremendous. Everything from classics to hypercars, purpose-built vans to drift cars, concept cars, and race vehicle veterans. Saying that it's from mild to wild would be a bit too easy because it's far more than that.
So it is the afternoon on Sunday, the last day here at Tokyo Auto Salon, and it's actually not terribly busy. We saw a lot more people leaving than we saw coming in, which means I think it's going to clear out a bit, and we might get lucky with being able to explore a bit without having to fight too many crowds.
There's an IT car every year, the one that's new and popular. Last Tokyo Auto Salon's IT car was the Mark V Supra. This year, it was split between the Nissan 400Z and the Toyobaru AE86 BRZ. Since the Nissan 400Z pays homage to its forebearer, several old Zs were also on display to highlight the new one. There were far fewer of the older generations of cars that used to be mainstays on the show. The R34 GTR is still ever present, but not too many Mark IV Supras or Nissan S15s were around this time. There were, however, plenty of RX-7s. Most of them were in and around Ari Amamiya's booth, but a few others were scattered around as well, including one being highlighted at Liberty Walk's booth. A ton of Liberty Walk cars were on display as usual. Their body kits can be pretty divisive, but overall I'm actually a fan of their work. Another body kit manufacturer that was there was Pandem, which is the same company as Rocket Bunny. I actually met Mura-san, the company's CEO, thanks to an introduction by my buddy Joseph over at Streetlight Productions. What I found most interesting about this particular lineup was that it was all American cars. But they did stand out against the sea of Japanese and European cars that most companies brought to the show. While R34 GTRs are super common at Tokyo Auto Salon, one had a couple special details that caught my eye. Specifically, the overly exaggerated Z-Tune style fenders in the front and the RB 2.8 badge on the trunk lid in the back. It turns out this car was entered in the show because it won a contest on Instagram, and Luana had a chance to talk with the owner to see what was special about his car.
はい、じゃあこの車は100件の中から選ばれた車の一つということなんですけれども、はい、この車は何が特別なんでしょうか。
エンジンが、はい、まず上置きツインっていう、はい、そのタービン、はい、PD06 ツインっていう上置きにしてるんで、それで1機がやっぱ400馬力ぐらい400馬力ぐらいあって、それが2機かかってるんで、はい、800馬力ぐらいの馬力、
すごい、
になってるっていうのが一つと、はい、フェンダーですね。フェンダーが、一応35ダクト、はい、35GTR のダクトを中に入れ込んで、でプラスエンブレムも35のエンブレムを中に入れてるっていう仕様になって、でガルウィングにするためにあそこ切り込みを入れて、はい、でワイドにしてガルウィングにしてるっていう、そこはすごいこだわり。
これ仕上げるまでにどれぐらいの期間がかかったんですか？
これも、最初はワイドにしたりとかいろいろしてたんで、はい、3回ぐらいこうやり直しがあって、なんでもう半年以上かかっていろいろこうしたっていう。
自分の一番お気に入りのところっていうとやっぱりここの
そうですね。これもともとカーボンフェンダーなんですけど、はい、それを自分で1回切って、でダクト1回入れたりとか、はい、自分でいろいろ試行錯誤しながら作ったんで、そこは一番こだわり
こだわったところ、はい、ブレーキにもこだわってるっていうことで、はい、はい、そうですね、教えてもらえますか？
はい、ブレーキは、R35 のブレーキを、
R35、
はい、そうですね、R35GTR のブレーキを流用して使わせてもらって、リアはポルシェブレーキを汎用して使ってるっていう形なんです。それもなかなかね、こうつけるのにやっぱり
珍しいですよね。
そうなんですよ。そうですね。やっぱりちょっと面白さをそこは、やっぱりデザインもこっちのリアの方はちょっと可愛い感じのデザインを使いたくて、はい、で一応作らせてもらいました。
わかりました。わかりました。じゃあ一回後ろトランクも見せてもらっていいですか？
あとサンルーフですね。
あ、サンルーフ。
はい。GTR にはサンルーフってまずないんで、それを後付けでつけてるっていうのも、もうなかなか全世界中でも1台しかないっていうもの。
すごいですね。
これもエアサスのタンクなんですけど、はい、これ一応ノス風に自分でベイサイドブルーに塗って、はい、でノス風にちょっとデザインしたか
っこよく車とマッチするようにやったっていうことですね。
やっぱりワイルドスピードの雰囲気をちょっとここに出したくて、はい、夜とか LED とか 光るように作ってるんで、
そうなんです。中に入ってるっていうことですね。
ネオン管とか入っていて、下も光るように全部やってるんで、
夜また見るとガラッと雰囲気が変わるような感じ。
夜も全部雰囲気変わるように、
すごいかっこいいですね。
でこれもこだわってて、エンブレムも
そうですね。そういえば
RB26 の、本当はエンブレムなんですけど、ここスムージングして自分で RB28 に作り変えた。
こだわりがたくさん詰まった一台になったということですね。このまま結構長い間キープしたいと思ってるんですが、それともちょっとまたこれから変えたいところとかやりたいっていうのは
まだまだやるところが多くて、そうなんですよ。やっぱり前を作ったんで、後ろもちょっともっと作りたいんですが、そうですね。
じゃあもしかしたら来年のオートサロンではもう一回違う形が見れるっていうことですね。
かもしれないです。
わかりました。じゃあ楽しみにしてますので、今日はありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
A couple other cars I noticed were a pair of Mitsubishis, which is an all but dead brand. One was an Evo wagon, and the other was an old 3rd gen Eclipse. The Eclipse was quite the throwback. A few other cars stood out to me because of their bodies. Two of them I'd actually seen before at the last Auto Salon back in 2020. The body of one is completely covered in hand engravings, and as of filming this, it's on sale for a cool 30 million yen. The other is a Porsche made completely of carbon fiber. Last time it didn't have an interior, but this time it did. The third was a Mazda Shantez, a tiny car I'd actually never heard of, and it had fender flares that seemed to nearly double its width. And now for something completely different. Vans are incredibly common in Japan as they offer the most utility for a given footprint, and space is always at a premium here. Like the rest of the cars at Tokyo Auto Salon, vans will range from mild to wild, but what makes them stand out is how the wild builds can be so usage specific. As cool as the vans are, they aren't really my cup of tea. Rather, that'd be the race cars, of which there are always many, many to see. The race cars on display are from Japanese series like Super Taikyu and Super GT, and from all types of racing like rally, drift, drag, and circuit. The last thing I'll cover are the manufacturer booths. Companies will usually have a car featuring their products and or displays of the products themselves. Japanese automobile manufacturers are usually in attendance, with Subaru, Honda, Toyota, and Nissan being mainstays. I used to be a Subaru fanboy, so I checked that one out first. They had a few purpose-built cars on display, including a BRZ for Super GT's GT300 class, a WRX STI built for the Nürburgring, and a WRX built for rallying. They also had the Levorg STI Sport pound sign, which is an STI trim, not an STI model. That's all the more obvious when you see that it has a CVT and not a manual transmission. And yes, the car's name does actually have a pound sign in it. Unlike Subaru's ever devaluing use of the STI brand name, Lotus is still keeping things real. They had a small booth with 2 Amiras on display and, look at that, a proper gearbox. Honda is a strange one because they usually have an interesting car, this year being the Mugen prototype, but it's kind of a boring brand these days, and nothing other than the old NSX and S2000 seem to be popular in Japan for that company anymore. Nissan had a large area blocked off with a funky activity pod vehicle thingy, some run-of-the-mill passenger cars, a display of the old and new Z side-by-side, and their main attraction, a pair of GTRs. Both a standard and a Nismo version of the GTR were on display. For aftermarket manufacturers, my favorite was the booth belonging to HKS. They had several cars from throughout their history, plus a ton of products on display. Not only do they show what they've been working on now, but having their heritage products from the past and their heritage vehicles really gave you an idea of what the company has done and is continuing to do. That was a very quick look at Tokyo Auto Salon 2023. Of course, there's way too much to put into a single video, so if you want to see it all for yourself, you have to come in person, and I do highly recommend it. It really is something to see. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. I'm going to be doing more of these events, including the Osaka Fashion Festival, here in a few weeks, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.